Amendment to the amendment in the nature of a substitute to H.R. 7910, offered by Mr. Gaetz. Page 41, after line 12, insert the following.
Without objection, the amendment will be considered as read. And the gentleman is recognized to speak on his amendment.
I believe one of the greatest threats to the Second Amendment, to gun owners, to public safety right now, the negotiations going on in the United States Senate to potentially adopt red flag laws. And I want members of the Judiciary Committee to be clearly on the record and to be clearly understood as to whether or not we believe it is a proper function of the United States government to try to coerce or entice or cajole states to adopt red flag laws. I am unequivocally against red flag laws. They deprive Americans of their Second Amendment rights. They deprive Americans of their Fifth Amendment right to due process. Many states have laws beyond their red flag laws where if someone is not in a position to appropriately own a firearm, that can be dealt with. But as there is this seemingly reflexive desire to adopt red flag laws, including in my own beloved Florida, I would suggest that this committee take a position against them. In the Sunshine State, nearly 6,000 people have been subject to orders as a result of red flag laws. I do not view that as a success. I view that as something that would cause grave concern. Increasingly, we see these red flag laws try to be used in contentious divorces, where you've got one person trying to deprive another person of their safety and security and their liberty and their Second Amendment rights in order to gain leverage in a marital dispute. And I find that particularly challenging. Our Second Amendment rights shouldn't be subjected to that type of deprivation of review by a court in an adversarial proceeding. You know, an adversarial proceeding that I think justice would require. And I would yield to the gentleman for Kentucky.
Thank the gentleman from Florida for introducing this amendment. Red flag laws are bad. They're not just harmful, they're unnecessary. In all 50 states, there are already laws on the books. In Florida, it's called the Baker Act. In California, it's called 5150, that allow somebody to be committed to a mental institution or to have their firearms even taken away. But the difference between those existing laws and these new laws is the existing laws have due process. Yep. You are entitled to an attorney. You will know when the hearing is happening. If you can't afford an attorney, they will give you an attorney. And there's a mental health expert required to be involved. This is absent of any of the red flag laws. They don't want to bring in a mental health expert. They don't provide you with a lawyer if you can't afford one. And so many people just have to submit to having their guns taken away without due process. They presume that you're guilty. And then, and under the new red flag laws that are being proposed, if you have the money, if you have the resources, if you can muster $10,000 for lawyers, you might be able to fight to get your right to keep and bear arms back. Furthermore, red flag laws prevent people from seeking help. Because if you get red flagged, they don't provide you with mental help. And the 50 states that already have laws dealing with involuntary commitment, they provide you with mental help. With a red flag law, they come in, they irritate the person they believe might be a danger to himself or others, and then provide no help whatsoever. And how do you know you've even taken all of their weapons or that they couldn't get more? So, and people knowing this won't seek mental help. If they've got an issue, they're afraid that that stigma will cause them to lose their rights, and so they won't seek the help. So it's even worse than not having a red flag law. And I'll yield, back to the gentleman from Florida.
Yield to the gentleman from Ohio. Nope. All right, very well, yield back.
Gentleman yields back. Does the gentlelady insist on a point of order?